Hi, it's Dave Scott again with US Acute Care Solutions. On the last video, we talked about the wealth building equation where wealth equals time times the amount invested times the rate of return. I made the case that time is one of the most valuable things you have as a resident and why you can't waste it. This video will focus on the second of the two most important variables for you at this stage of your wealth building. That's the amount invested. So at work, you generate an income from your profession. This income shows up at the top of your income statement. From here, that income can go several places. It can all go out in expenses to buy stuff, or it can go into your asset column as a solid asset. So how do we get that income into our asset column as efficiently as possible? Follow the 80-20 rule. For every $100 that comes into the income statement, $80 can be used to pay for your expenses and all of the stuff that you desire. $20 should be efficiently invested into solid assets. So, if you're currently making $50,000 a year as a resident or a fellow, you should be taking $10,000 per year and investing it. That $10,000 is the beginning of your wealth. Now, every financial planner will agree with me at some point with some variation between 10 and 25%, but none will disagree that this is what we need to do. They may plug your income and future goals into some fancy software system to see how many millions of dollars you'll need at retirement, but the answer always comes back to somewhere around 20%. Why is it then that the vast majority of you watching this video series aren't investing anywhere close to that amount? The answer is not the things that are running through your mind right now, like student loans, rent, car payments, and other expenses. The answer is not some individual issue that you're dealing with. It's not unique to you at all. In fact, the reason why most of you haven't invested 20% so far has to do with the fact that a person's expenses will always rise to meet or exceed your income unless you force it to do otherwise. Now, I'm using some strong words here such as always and force. That's how powerful the expense column is. It literally sucks the money out of your income column unless you fight against it. You must face a certain fact. Your desires will continue to grow right along with your income level. As soon as we satisfy a material desire, the next one starts to grow. It's just the way we're built. It's hard for you to believe that right now, but this same issue exists whether you make $50,000 a year, $250,000 a year, or $2 million a year, unless you fight it. So let's get ready to fight. How you fight this problem has many names. Pay yourself first, live below your means. Those are examples of this concept. But how do you do that consistently? I believe the solution lies in understanding the concept of the autopilot. The autopilot is a mechanical device that handles the regular tasks of flying an airplane, such as keeping the wings level, holding altitude, and so on. Now, what does this have to do with building wealth? Because of the incredible power of the expense column, the absolute best way to follow the 80-20 rule is to put that 20% for wealth building on autopilot. Remove the human element, you, as much as possible. Examples of putting your wealth building on autopilot would be maximizing the contributions to your employer's 401k or profit sharing plan. The money goes into your asset column before ever getting into your bank account. You are then forced to live on the 80% that's left. This is why you should put an extremely high value on employers that make it possible for you to get the maximum retirement contributions possible into profit sharing and 401k like plans. That's currently around $50,000 per year. That autopilot is incredibly valuable to your long-term wealth creation. Large institutions often don't provide the ability for physicians to put away that amount, and some companies out there give you an inflated income and leave it all up to you. Payroll deduction is the highest level autopilot. Next would be setting up an automatic funding plan from your bank account. A fixed amount is taken out every month to fund part of your 20% investing. This is good also, but has higher risk. Risk that the human element, you again, will be tempted, convinced, coerced, or whatever to suspend those automatic investments to satisfy some other desire. We are all susceptible to this. If you don't think you are, you're in denial. Investing what's left over after paying all of your expenses is wealth building suicide. If you look at your $50,000 salary today and cannot see how you'd be able to pay all your bills while investing $10,000 per year and living on 40, after taxes, loan payments, etc., you're looking at your future as an attending simply with bigger numbers. It does not get easier. In fact, it gets harder in a lot of ways. But you can take advantage of this transition from resident to attending to turn on the autopilot. If you don't turn it on during the transition, you'll end up with the same dilemma you have today, not being able to figure out how to pay all the bills and have money to invest. It's the third law of money. Money will grow rapidly if you follow the 80-20 rule. And if you put it on autopilot, we can move on to the next rules. Unfortunately, most of them don't apply if you can't follow this one.